That spoonful wasn't sugar. It was diamonds worth over $100 million. Every single one of them was stored in the vault of London Diamond Exchange, the world's largest diamond supplier, totaling nearly 2 tons. And now, a janitor had his eye on them. Mike had been mopping floors at this company for 15 years. With retirement just around the corner, he wasn't about to walk away empty-handed. He planned to secure his future on his own terms. A handful of diamonds here and there? That wasn't going to cut it. Mike was thinking big. He wanted it all. But he knew a job this massive was impossible to pull off alone, so he started looking for allies. His attention turned to Laura, the only female supervisor in the company. In 1960s London, nearly every industry was dominated by men. No matter how talented a woman was, climbing the corporate ladder was almost out of the question. Laura's dream was to become a branch manager. Yet among the 1,000-plus branches of London Diamond Exchange, not a single one had ever been led by a woman. That very morning, during a company meeting, the new list of branch managers was announced. The promotion went to a man whose skills and track record were clearly inferior to Laura's. She quietly returned to her seat and wrote on a small card, "Don't give up. Keep pushing. You'll make it." What she didn't realize was that in a system rigged against her, no amount of early mornings and late nights would ever pay off. She was just paving the road for someone else. The next day, Laura noticed something new on her card. Someone had added, "No, you won't." Tucked beside it was a movie ticket. Curious, she showed up at the theater at the time printed on the stub. Mike was waiting for her. He cut straight to the point. Her dream was never going to happen. While cleaning, he'd overheard that the company had already decided to let her go. The reason? Laura had once participated in a business strategy discussion with another company, a project that upper management had explicitly ordered to be kept confidential from everyone except the executives. Despite all her dedication and hard work, Laura had never been considered one of them. But it got worse. To make sure she'd never have the chance to leak any secrets, the chairman had issued a blacklist order. Any company doing business with London Diamond Exchange was forbidden from hiring her. It was a ruthless move that effectively killed her career. When Laura learned all this, she sought Mike out herself. "I can tell you're not just some janitor," she said. "Let's talk." Mike laid his cards on the table. He had his eye on the diamonds in the vault, and he assured her the plan was nearly risk-free. After 15 years on the night shift, he knew every inch of the building and had the timing down to the second. All he had to do was show up for work as usual, and he'd have his window. Every night at 9, the building was locked up, 10 solid hours with no one around. The vault was on the basement level, guarded by just 2 men, with a single elevator as the only way in or out. Mike typically started cleaning on the 4th floor each night, where he was left completely alone. Security made rounds once an hour. Other than that, nobody cared what was going on. But there was a catch. The vault couldn't be opened without a code, and that code changed every week. The chairman, of course, had access to it. About a year ago, Mike had stumbled upon the fact that he kept the code hidden somewhere in his office, though the exact spot changed. Mike had seen the code before, but had always been too scared to act. Now, with only months left until retirement, it was now or never. Laura's job was simple. At the company dinner party the following evening, she needed to slip into the chairman's study and find the latest code. Mike pulled out a thermos and made her a promise. Fill this up and he'd stop right there. The company would barely notice anything missing, and each of them would walk away with diamonds worth millions of pounds. After the dinner party, the chairman returned to his office alone to retrieve something from his private safe. Unaware that Laura was hiding in a corner of the study, she watched through a small telescope, memorizing the combination as he punched it in. Once he left, she moved quickly, opened the safe, and got the vault code. Just as she and Mike were ready to move forward, something unexpected happened. The company installed round-the-clock surveillance, monitored 24 hours a day. Fortunately, the technology still had its flaws. For starters, the system couldn't record footage. There was no way to review it later. Of the 8 cameras, only 4 feeds could be displayed at once, and each image cycled every 15 seconds. That meant, at best, there was a 60-second blind spot in front of the vault. It was going to be tight. On the night of the heist, while cleaning the surveillance room, Mike carefully studied the rotation pattern, then made his move during a gap. He was a little slow opening the door. Nerves got to him, but luckily the guard was too busy eating fried chicken to notice. Then Laura called in with a distracting phone call, buying him a few more precious seconds. Finally, Mike wheeled his card into the vault. Mountains of glittering diamonds lay before him. He could barely contain his excitement. The next morning, panicked executives rushed a group of managers down to the vault. What they saw left them speechless. 2 tons of diamonds had vanished into thin air. Laura thought to herself, "This is what you meant by just 1 thermos, Mike?" Even more baffling, there was no way that little cart could hold all those diamonds, let alone get them out of the building. The vault was built with heavy steel and marble, and the elevator was the only way in or out. Where on earth had the diamonds gone? As the world's largest diamond supplier, the company now faced total ruin. The executives scrambled to consult with their insurance provider and brought in a professional investigation team. As it turned out, the chairman had received an anonymous letter demanding £100 million in exchange for the diamonds. Shaken, he immediately filed an insurance claim, but the insurer refused to pay. Negotiations collapsed. The insurance company then leaked the theft to the press, hoping to buy time. The fallout was too much for the chairman. He suffered a heart attack and died on the spot. Laura confronted Mike, demanding to know why he hadn't stuck to the plan and had instead emptied the entire vault. Mike stayed calm. "Relax," he said. "Everything's under control." But the investigator was sharp. Following a trail of small clues, he quickly zeroed in on Laura. She kept her composure, excused herself to the restroom, and tried to collect her thoughts. In her panic, a diamond slipped from her handkerchief and fell into the sink. She barely managed to fish it out. Then it hit her. She suddenly understood where 2 tons of diamonds had gone. She rushed to the sewer near the company building and found Mike waiting there. At the end of the pipe sat a mountain of diamonds. There was still an hour left before the ransom was due. Mike didn't want her interfering with the plan. He pulled out a weapon, motioned for her to sit, and began explaining how he'd done it. That night, Mike had secretly replaced the sink's plumbing with fire hoses designed for easy drainage. He calculated the timing precisely, making trip after trip to the vault, flushing each batch of diamonds straight into the sewer. In under 2 hours, 2 tons of diamonds were gone. But Mike had no intention of trading the diamonds for money. Everything he'd done was for revenge, for his late wife. Years ago, she'd fallen ill. With timely treatment, she could have recovered, but they couldn't afford it and had to rely on their health insurance. The insurance company deliberately dragged its feet, making them wait in line for a hospital bed. By the time she was finally approved for surgery, her condition had become terminal. That same insurance company, the one that had let his wife die, was now London Diamond Exchange's biggest partner. Stealing the diamonds was never the endgame. Making that insurance company pay was what Mike had wanted all along. Meanwhile, the company's other shareholders discovered that the insurer had violated industry regulations by leaking the theft to the media. To salvage the company's reputation, they quietly struck a deal with the Diamond Exchange, agreeing to pay the £100 million ransom. The ruined insurance executive, with nothing left, took his own life. Mike checked the time. The money should have hit the account by now. He turned and walked away, his figure slowly fading into the distance. There was no triumph on his face, only an endless ache for the wife he'd lost. Laura notified the Diamond Exchange to come retrieve their inventory. She tried to explain something to the investigator, but he stopped her. After years of being passed over for promotion, Laura finally resigned from London Diamond Exchange. But shortly after, £100 million mysteriously appeared in her bank account. It was Mike's parting gift. That fortune tormented her every single day. Honestly, I wouldn't mind experiencing that kind of torment myself. But the life that truly belonged to Laura was only just beginning. She poured every penny into charity work. It took her 40 years to give it all away. And when the last pound was donated, Laura felt a freedom she had never known before.